Hello, COM 1700 students. Here are the instructions for your Chapter 9 worksheet. As always, please watch the video in its entirety and take really good notes so that you can meet all the requirements of the assignment. In the last chapter, we looked at how we formed relationships, and in this chapter, we're looking at how relationships come apart. So what are some of the steps that we go through in ending a relationship? What are some of the reasons we might choose to end a relationship? So for an overview of your assignment, I'm going to ask you to do two things. The first is to look at this idea of turning points. In this chapter of the text, we learn about two different kinds of turning points in a relationship that might cause the demise of that relationship. And I wanted to make sure you understand the difference between them. Then secondly, I'm going to ask you to look at a model called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And that is a list of 4 behaviors that we engage in when a relationship is ending, and those behaviors can lead to strife and the end of the relationship. So in both of these cases, I'm going to ask you to reflect on how those might have come to play in your own relationship history. Let's look at these one at a time. First, I'd like you to reflect on and write about causal turning points and reflective turning points, and give an example of each in your own past relationships. So review the meaning of each of these and what the examples are, and consider how you've seen that happen in the past. Remember, a causal turning point is usually some kind of a deal breaker that prompts you to end the relationship, whereas a reflective turning point is a little different. With a reflective turning point, there's a chance that the relationship could continue. So review both of those carefully and reflect on how those have happened in your own life. For the second part of this exercise, I'd like you to review the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which is a model of 4 behaviors that people often engage in when a relationship is ending, or we could call them behaviors that could cause a relationship to end. You'll read in the book about criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Make sure you understand the definitions of each of those and can give an example so that you're clear on the difference between them. And then in your paper, I'm asking you to reflect on which one of those has been the most destructive in your own interpersonal relationships, and give me a brief explanation of that. Here again is the summary of the assignment, and as you reflect on past relationships you've had that have ended, keep in mind that these relationships can span the spectrum from a casual friendship to a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship with a classmate, a former friend, a family member, and they don't necessarily have to have ended in a dramatic way. I'd just like you to reflect on some of the steps that occurred in the undoing of that relationship. Okay, so first you're going to look at causal and reflective turning points and give an example of each that you have encountered in your past. And then secondly, look at the 4 horsemen and pick the one that you think has been most prominent in your own life and explain that. To complete this assignment, write up your answers in a Word document, save that to your computer, and then upload it to the proper Dropbox on e-learning. Please do not send these to me as email attachments, but do email me if you have questions about the assignments. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.